Give me few minutes, and I'll improve your communication skills. Introduction. Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. Communication is a skill that affects every area of our lives, whether we're aware of it or not. How we speak, how we listen, and how we make others feel when we interact with them shapes our relationships and influences our success. But here's the thing. Most of us don't realize just how powerful improving our communication can be. It's not just about talking or sending messages, it's about truly connecting with others in a way that feels natural, clear, and meaningful. If you've ever felt misunderstood, struggled to express yourself, or found yourself tongue-tied in conversations, you're not alone. Many people face these challenges, but the good news is you can change that. Effective communication isn't something you're born with, it's something you can develop. It's a combination of understanding the right words, knowing when to speak, and having the confidence to express your thoughts without fear or hesitation. Improving your communication skills means more than just speaking better. It means being able to truly understand others and being understood in return. It means showing up in a way that creates trust, builds rapport, and makes people feel comfortable around you. Imagine the doors that could open when you're able to connect with anyone, at any time, and express yourself clearly. This isn't about complicated theories or technical jargon, it's about real practical steps that you can take every day. Whether it's mastering the art of listening, learning how to speak with more clarity, or getting past the nerves that hold you back, this journey is all about making communication work for you. The changes won't happen overnight, but with a bit of effort and some everyday practice, you'll start to see improvements that can transform the way you connect with the world around you. Improving your communication skills will give you the confidence to speak up when it matters most. It will help you connect with people in ways you've always wanted. And the more you practice, the more natural it will feel. The goal is simple: to make communication easier, more effective, and more impactful. It's time to start making those connections that matter. Chapter 1. Words shape your life. Words have the power to shape your life in ways you may not even realize. Every time you speak, you're influencing the people around you and creating an impression of who you are. Whether you're at work, with family, or talking to a stranger, the way you use your words can either open doors or close them. Some people command respect when they speak, while others struggle to be heard. The difference isn't just in what they say, but how they say it. The way you communicate determines how people see you. If you speak with confidence, others will trust your words. If you sound unsure or unclear, people may doubt your message. Some individuals have a natural way of drawing others in because they express themselves with clarity and conviction. Others push people away without realizing it because their words create confusion or discomfort. Think about the last time someone spoke to you in a way that left a lasting impression. Maybe it was a teacher who encouraged you, a boss who motivated you, or a friend who lifted your spirits. The right words, spoken at the right moment, have the power to inspire, comfort, and guide. But the wrong words, spoken carelessly, can leave wounds that take years to heal. Communication isn't just about speaking, it's about making sure your message is understood. Some people talk a lot, but say very little. Others speak briefly, yet leave a deep impact. The goal is to express yourself in a way that makes people listen, understand, and respect what you're saying. Your words also affect how you see yourself. If you constantly say, "I'm not good at talking to people," you'll start believing it. If you say, "I always mess up my words," that thought will shape your actions. Negative language limits growth, while positive words build confidence. If you want to improve how you communicate, you have to start by changing how you talk about yourself. The way you speak also affects your relationships. When you choose your words carefully, you create stronger connections. People want to be around those who make them feel valued and understood. If you speak with kindness and clarity, you'll build trust. But if your words are harsh, vague, or dismissive, you'll push people away without meaning to. The impact of words is seen in daily interactions. If you're always negative, people may start avoiding conversations with you. If you complain often, others might stop listening. But if you speak with energy, positivity, and sincerity, people will enjoy talking to you. They'll seek your advice, value your opinions, and appreciate your presence. Confidence in communication isn't about using big words or sounding overly formal. It's about speaking in a way that makes people pay attention. A simple, well-structured sentence can have more impact than a long, complicated one. When you express yourself clearly, people don't have to guess what you mean. There are moments when silence is better than speaking without purpose. Words spoken in anger or frustration can damage relationships in an instant. Once something is said, it can't be taken back. That's why thinking before speaking is one of the most valuable habits to develop. If what you're about to say isn't helpful, it may be better to remain quiet. The right words can also make a difference in your professional life. A well-spoken individual gains respect in the workplace, earns leadership opportunities, and builds strong professional relationships. Employers value employees who can communicate ideas clearly and confidently. In meetings, those who express their thoughts with conviction are often seen as more capable. Communication plays a role in personal success as well. Those who know how to speak with clarity are more likely to influence and inspire others. Whether you're giving a presentation, negotiating a deal, or having a casual conversation, the way you speak affects the outcome. Improving the way you communicate doesn't require a special talent. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to how you speak, how people react to your words, and whether your message is being understood. Small adjustments can lead to significant improvements. One of the simplest ways to enhance your communication skills is by using words that uplift others. A genuine compliment, a kind word, or a thoughtful response can strengthen a relationship. People remember how you make them feel, and your words play a huge role in that. The quality of conversations determines the quality of relationships. If you want stronger connections, start by being mindful of how you speak. Show interest in others, listen carefully, and respond with words that show you care. When people feel heard and valued, they naturally open up to you. The way you phrase things can change how a message is received. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," try, "I see it differently." Instead of saying, "That's a bad idea," try, "Here's another way to look at it." Simple changes in wording can turn a negative statement into a constructive one. Being direct is important, but being respectful is just as crucial. Some people think being honest means speaking without a filter, but true honesty is about expressing thoughts in a way that others can accept. The goal is not just to be heard, but to communicate in a way that builds understanding. Words also play a role in handling conflict. When emotions run high, it's easy to say things that escalate the situation, but a calm, well-chosen response can bring tension down. Learning to control your words in difficult moments is a skill that benefits every area of life. Every conversation is an opportunity to strengthen or weaken a connection. When you speak with patience and clarity, you create better interactions. People are drawn to those who communicate with purpose and sincerity. Becoming a better communicator doesn't happen overnight, but small changes can have a big impact. Start by choosing your words carefully, speaking with confidence, and listening as much as you talk. The way you communicate today will shape the relationships, opportunities, and success you experience in the future. Chapter 2. Listen to understand, not just to reply. Most people listen to reply, not to understand. They hear words, but their mind is already forming a response before the other person even finishes speaking. This habit creates misunderstandings, weakens relationships, and makes conversations feel one-sided. Real listening is about focusing on the person in front of you, giving them your full attention, and making sure you truly understand their message before responding. Good communication isn't just about talking, it's about making others feel heard. When people feel like they're being listened to, they open up more, trust more, and respect you more. A person who listens well stands out because genuine listening is rare. Too often, people nod along without really absorbing what's being said, waiting for their turn to speak instead of engaging with the conversation. When you take the time to truly listen, you show that you care. Listening well requires effort. It means shutting out distractions, focusing on the speaker's words, and paying attention to their tone and body language. Many people think they're good listeners, but in reality, they only catch parts of the conversation while their mind jumps from one thought to another. Real listening requires patience. It means setting aside your own thoughts for a moment and giving full attention to what's being said. People can sense when you're not really listening. If you're checking your phone, looking around the room, or thinking about what you're going to say next, the person talking to you will feel unimportant. When that happens, they'll stop sharing their thoughts, and over time, they may stop talking to you altogether. But when you make eye contact, nod in understanding, and respond in a way that shows you've been paying attention, the connection strengthens. Understanding someone goes beyond just hearing their words. People communicate through expressions, gestures, and tone of voice. A person might say, "I'm fine," but their voice may lack energy, their eyes may seem distant, and their posture may tell a different story. If you only hear the words and ignore the rest, you'll miss the real message. Good listening includes observing how something is said, not just what is said. Interrupting is one of the biggest signs that someone isn't listening. It sends the message that what the other person is saying isn't important enough to finish. When you interrupt, you take away the other person's chance to fully express themselves. If you want to improve your conversations, practice pausing before you speak. Give the other person space to complete their thoughts before responding. Not only does this show respect, but it also allows you to fully absorb what's being said. One of the reasons people struggle to listen is because their minds move faster than words. While someone is talking, thoughts race ahead, forming opinions, judgments, or responses. Instead of fully engaging with the conversation, the mind starts planning the next thing to say. To break this habit, practice being present. Focus on the words being spoken and resist the urge to mentally prepare your response before the person finishes. Asking follow-up questions is a sign of good listening. It shows that you not only heard the words, but that you're interested in understanding more. Simple questions like, "What happened next?" or "How did that make you feel?" encourage deeper conversations. When people feel heard, they naturally share more, and stronger connections are built. Some conversations require more than just listening. They require empathy. Sometimes people don't need advice, they just need to be heard. Rushing to offer solutions can make the other person feel like their feelings are being dismissed. Instead of jumping in with suggestions, acknowledge their emotions first. Saying something like, "That sounds really frustrating," or "I can see why that upset you," validates their experience and makes them feel understood. A good listener doesn't just listen when it's convenient. The real test of listening skills happens in moments of disagreement. It's easy to tune out when someone is saying something you don't agree with, but that's when listening matters most. Instead of preparing a counter-argument while the other person is speaking, focus on understanding their point of view. Even if you don't agree, showing that you respect their opinion strengthens the relationship. Listening isn't just about words, it's also about silence. Sometimes, the most powerful moments in a conversation happen when there's a pause. Many people feel uncomfortable with silence and rush to fill it, but allowing a moment of quiet can give the other person space to gather their thoughts and express themselves more fully. A pause can also show that you're really considering what's being said, rather than just reacting. People are drawn to those who make them feel heard. In friendships, in business, and in personal relationships, the ability to listen well makes a difference. When you listen with genuine interest, people remember how you made them feel. They see you as someone they can trust, someone who values them, and someone they enjoy being around. Becoming a better listener doesn't happen overnight, but it's a skill that can be developed with practice. The next time you're in a conversation, make a conscious effort to focus completely on the other person. Resist the urge to think ahead, avoid distractions, and listen not just to the words but to the emotions behind them. Over time, you'll notice that your conversations become richer, your relationships stronger, and your understanding of others deeper. Listening is one of the simplest ways to improve your communication, yet it's one of the most overlooked. When you take the time to truly hear what others are saying, you'll find that people respond to you differently. They'll respect your opinions more, open up to you more, and value your presence in their lives. It's not about being the loudest speaker or the smartest person in the room. It's about being the one who listens with attention, patience, and sincerity. Chapter 3. Speak clearly and get to the point. People respect those who can express themselves clearly. When you speak, your words should be easy to understand, and your message should be direct. Too often, people talk in circles, using too many words or overcomplicating their point. Others hesitate, unsure of what to say, which weakens their confidence. Speaking clearly means getting to the point without unnecessary words, hesitation, or confusion. The first step to speaking clearly is knowing exactly what you want to say. Many people struggle with communication because they start talking before their thoughts are organized. Instead of rushing into a conversation, take a moment to gather your ideas. When your mind is clear, your words will follow. Clarity in thought leads to clarity in speech. Confidence plays a big role in how people receive your words. If you speak too softly, mumble, or constantly second-guess yourself, others may struggle to take you seriously. When you speak with certainty, your message carries more weight. This doesn't mean you have to be loud or forceful. A steady, well-paced voice is often more powerful than a loud one. People listen to those who sound sure of what they're saying. Choosing the right words makes all the difference. Some people use complex or unnecessary words to sound smart, but this often has the opposite effect. Simplicity is powerful. A well-structured sentence with everyday language is far more effective than a complicated one that leaves people confused. Good communication isn't about impressing others with vocabulary, it's about making sure they understand what you mean. Speaking too fast can make your words hard to follow. Many people rush through their sentences because they're nervous or eager to be heard. When you slow down, your words become clearer, and people have time to absorb what you're saying. Pausing between thoughts allows your message to sink in and gives your listener time to process the information. The tone of your voice affects how people interpret your message. A flat, dull tone makes even important words sound uninteresting. On the other hand, a voice that has energy and natural variation keeps people engaged. If you want others to care about what you're saying, you have to sound like you care too. Enthusiasm and warmth make your words more inviting. Clarity isn't just about speaking, it's also about making sure your message fits the situation. Some conversations require a professional tone, while others allow for casual speech. Knowing how to adjust your words, depending on the setting, makes you a more effective communicator. A casual conversation with a friend might be relaxed and full of humor, while a discussion at work may need to be more direct and structured. Matching your speech to the moment helps avoid misunderstandings. Body language supports what you're saying. If your words are clear, but your posture is closed off or hesitant, the message gets mixed signals. Looking people in the eye, standing or sitting with confidence, and using natural gestures reinforce your words. People don't just listen with their ears, they watch for signs that support what they're hearing. If your body language doesn't match your words, people will trust what they see over what they hear. Some people over-explain their thoughts, repeating the same point in different ways. This can make the listener lose interest or feel like their time is being wasted. A strong communicator knows when enough has been said. Deliver your message in a way that is complete but not excessive. Being clear means saying what's necessary without unnecessary details. Being direct is not the same as being rude. Some people avoid getting to the point because they don't want to seem too blunt. But when done with respect, direct communication is highly effective. Instead of speaking around an issue, address it clearly. Instead of using vague language, say exactly what you mean. People appreciate honesty when it's delivered with kindness and clarity. Clear speech is especially important in difficult conversations. When emotions are involved, it's easy to let nervousness or frustration affect how you communicate. In moments like these, slowing down, choosing words carefully, and focusing on the main message helps prevent misunderstandings. The clearer you are, the less room there is for confusion or unnecessary conflict. Asking for feedback helps improve communication. If you're unsure whether your message was understood, a simple question like, "Does that make sense?" or "What are your thoughts on that?" invites clarification. Communication is a two-way process. Checking in with the listener ensures your words are being received as intended. Practicing clear communication in everyday situations makes it easier in important moments. Whether ordering food, giving directions, or sharing an idea, small conversations are opportunities to refine your ability to be direct and precise. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. People remember those who speak with clarity and purpose. When you communicate well, others listen more closely, take your words seriously, and respect your opinions. A clear message, delivered with confidence, makes an impact. Every conversation is a chance to strengthen this skill. The more you focus on speaking clearly and getting to the point, the more effective and influential your words will become. Chapter 4. Say the right thing at the right time. Saying the right thing at the right time is a skill that can open doors, strengthen relationships, and prevent unnecessary conflict. The right words, delivered at the right moment, can inspire, comfort, and persuade. On the other hand, poorly timed words can cause confusion, frustration, or regret. Knowing when to speak and what to say in different situations is one of the most valuable communication skills a person can develop. Many people speak without thinking, responding quickly out of habit rather than intention. This can lead to misunderstandings, missed opportunities, or words that cause unintended harm. Taking a moment to consider the impact of your words before speaking can make a significant difference. A few seconds of thought can prevent hours or even years of regret. Timing in communication is just as important as the words themselves. Some conversations require immediate responses, while others are best handled with patience. A rushed response in an emotional moment may lead to words that escalate a situation rather than resolve it. In contrast, delaying a necessary conversation for too long can allow misunderstandings to grow. Knowing when to pause and when to speak is a skill that requires awareness and practice. Different situations call for different approaches. A friend going through a tough time may need quiet support more than advice. A team member struggling with a task may benefit from clear direction rather than criticism. A disagreement with a colleague may require a calm discussion rather than a heated argument. Adapting your words to fit the moment helps create better interactions and stronger connections. Emotional awareness plays a big role in saying the right thing. If emotions are high, words can easily be misinterpreted. When people are frustrated, tired, or overwhelmed, they may not receive a message the way it was intended. Choosing words carefully and delivering them in a calm, thoughtful way can help prevent unnecessary conflict. Listening before speaking increases the chances of saying the right thing. Many people jump into conversations with their own thoughts without fully understanding what the other person is expressing. Taking the time to listen, ask questions, and absorb the situation before responding leads to better conversations and deeper understanding. Knowing your audience helps in choosing the right words. The way you speak to a close friend is different from how you'd communicate with a boss or client. A casual remark that is appropriate in one setting might be misunderstood in another. Being aware of who you're speaking to and adjusting your language accordingly helps ensure your message is received the way you intend. There are moments when silence is more powerful than words. Not every situation requires an immediate response. Sometimes, giving someone space to express themselves without interruption is the best way to handle a conversation. Other times, waiting for emotions to settle before addressing a topic leads to a more productive discussion. Pausing before speaking gives you a chance to consider whether your words will help or harm the situation. Being mindful of how your words will be received is key. A well-meaning comment can be taken the wrong way if delivered at the wrong time. Encouragement given when someone is upset may not be well received if they're not ready to hear it. Constructive feedback, offered too soon, can feel like criticism rather than guidance. Choosing the right moment ensures your message is understood in the best possible way. Patience is essential when it comes to important conversations. When discussing a sensitive topic, rushing to say everything at once can overwhelm the other person. Breaking information into smaller points, allowing time for responses, and giving space for the other person to process the conversation creates a better outcome. Saying the right thing also involves being honest while remaining respectful. Some people avoid difficult conversations because they fear saying the wrong thing. However, avoiding necessary discussions can create more problems in the long run. Speaking with clarity, honesty, and kindness allows for open and productive communication even when addressing tough topics. The ability to communicate effectively in different situations improves personal and professional relationships. A well-timed compliment can brighten someone's day. An apology given with sincerity can heal a broken relationship. A clear explanation in a moment of confusion can prevent frustration. Paying attention to when and how you speak creates a more positive impact on those around you. Self-awareness is a valuable tool in improving communication. Noticing patterns in when you speak, how you respond, and the effects of your words on others can help you refine your timing and delivery. Reflecting on past conversations, identifying what worked and what didn't, and making adjustments over time leads to stronger communication skills. Learning to recognize nonverbal cues helps in determining the right time to speak. A person's body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice often provide clues about how they're feeling. If someone appears distracted, irritated, or closed off, it may not be the best time to bring up a serious conversation. Paying attention to these signals helps in choosing the right moment for important discussions. Practicing patience in everyday conversations strengthens your ability to communicate well in more significant moments. Waiting for the right opportunity instead of rushing into a conversation allows for better outcomes. When you take the time to observe, listen, and choose your words wisely, you develop a reputation as someone who speaks with purpose and consideration. Improving the ability to say the right thing at the right time doesn't happen overnight, but small changes can lead to noticeable improvements. Making an effort to pause before speaking, consider the impact of words, and adjust based on the situation leads to more meaningful conversations and better relationships. Thoughtful communication creates trust, builds respect, and fosters deeper connections with others. Chapter 5. Your body talks too. People often focus so much on the words they say that they forget something just as important: what their body is communicating. Every movement, expression, and gesture sends a message. Whether you realize it or not, the way you stand, the way you move your hands, the look in your eyes, and even the tone of your voice all shape how others perceive you. Understanding this can help you communicate more effectively and build stronger connections with people. When someone speaks with confidence, their body reflects it. Their posture is straight, their shoulders are relaxed, and they make eye contact. When someone is unsure, their body gives them away before they even say a word. They might fidget, look down, or cross their arms. The way you carry yourself affects how others respond to you. A person who stands tall and looks people in the eye is seen as trustworthy, and capable. Someone who slouches or avoids eye contact may come across as nervous or uninterested, even if that's not their intention. Facial expressions reveal emotions without a single word being spoken. A genuine smile makes people feel at ease, while a tense jaw or furrowed brow can signal frustration or impatience. People are quick to notice these details, often without realizing it. A slight change in expression can shift the entire mood of a conversation. That's why being aware of your facial expressions matters. If your words say one thing, but your face says another, people will believe what they see over what they hear. Hand movements add meaning to speech. Some people talk with their hands naturally, and when done right, it can make a message more engaging. Controlled, purposeful gestures emphasize key points and help others stay focused. On the other hand, restless hands, crossed arms, or excessive fidgeting can be distracting. Being mindful of how you use your hands allows you to reinforce your message rather than take away from it. Eye contact is one of the strongest forms of nonverbal communication. It signals confidence, attention, and sincerity. When someone avoids eye contact, it can create feelings of discomfort or distrust. Looking someone in the eyes while speaking or listening shows that you are engaged. However, balance is important. Staring too intensely can feel aggressive, while looking away too often can make you seem disinterested. The right amount of eye contact strengthens conversations and builds trust. The way you position yourself in relation to others also affects communication. Standing too close can feel intrusive, while too much distance can make interactions seem cold. Being aware of personal space helps create a comfortable atmosphere. In casual conversations, a relaxed stance at a natural distance keeps things friendly. In professional settings, maintaining an upright and open posture projects confidence and credibility. Tone of voice carries just as much weight as the words themselves. The same sentence can have different meanings depending on how it's said. A warm, steady tone can make a statement sound reassuring, while a sharp or rushed tone can make the same words feel harsh. Paying attention to volume, speed, and emphasis helps ensure your message is received the way you intend. Speaking too quickly can make you seem nervous, while speaking too slowly can lose people's attention. Finding a natural rhythm helps keep listeners engaged. People pick up on nonverbal cues even when they aren't paying attention to them directly. If someone is speaking but their body language doesn't match their words, others sense something is off. A person saying, "I'm fine," with crossed arms, a tight jaw, and a forced smile is unlikely to convince anyone that they're actually fine. Alignment between words and body language creates credibility. If you want to be taken seriously, your gestures, expressions, and tone must match your message. Being observant of others' body language is just as important as controlling your own. Not everyone openly says what they're feeling, but their nonverbal cues often reveal it. Recognizing when someone seems uncomfortable, distracted, or engaged allows you to adjust your approach in a conversation. If someone is leaning in, nodding, and maintaining eye contact, they're likely interested in what you're saying. If they're looking away, shifting in their seat, or checking their phone, they may not be fully present. Noticing these signals allows you to steer conversations in a better direction. Small changes in posture, facial expressions, and tone can make a big difference in how you come across. Becoming more aware of these details takes practice, but it leads to stronger communication. If you want people to listen to you, trust you, and connect with you, mastering body language is just as important as choosing the right words. Making an effort to align your nonverbal communication with your message creates clearer, more meaningful interactions. Chapter 6. Stop feeling nervous when talking to people. Speaking to people can be intimidating, especially if you're naturally shy or introverted. It's easy to let nervousness take over when you're about to say something important. But one thing to remember is that most people don't notice your nerves nearly as much as you think they do. Everyone gets a little anxious from time to time, It's a normal part of communication. The key is learning to manage that anxiety so it doesn't get in the way of what you need to express. The first step in overcoming nervousness is acknowledging it. If you're about to speak in front of a group, for example, it's okay to admit to yourself that you're feeling a little anxious. Recognizing that it's normal helps you take the pressure off. It's natural to feel nervous before talking to someone, especially if it's a person you respect or a situation where a lot is riding on your words. What's important is how you handle those nerves. Breathing deeply can do wonders. It's easy to get caught up in anxiety and forget to breathe properly. Shallow breathing can increase your tension and make you feel more panicked. Deep, slow breaths, on the other hand, calm your nervous system and help you regain control of your thoughts. The next time you feel yourself getting nervous, take a moment to pause and breathe deeply. It'll slow your heart rate and give you a chance to refocus. Another powerful tool is preparation. Being prepared makes you feel more confident. When you know exactly what you want to say, you're less likely to trip over your words or get lost in the middle of a sentence. Whether it's a presentation, a meeting, or a casual conversation, having a clear idea of your message makes it easier to speak up without hesitation. When you're prepared, you can focus on delivering your thoughts clearly rather than worrying about what to say next. You don't have to memorize every word. Instead, have a few key points or ideas in mind. This way, even if you lose track of one thought, you can always return to the main message. It's important to keep things simple and not overcomplicate your speech. The less pressure you put on yourself, the easier it becomes to speak confidently. Another aspect of overcoming nervousness is realizing that people generally aren't as focused on you as you think. Most of the time, they're more concerned about themselves. We tend to overestimate how much others are judging us. This is often called the spotlight effect, the idea that we believe everyone is paying close attention to our every move. In reality, people are often thinking about their own thoughts or worries, not scrutinizing what we say. Knowing this can help take some of the pressure off. When you start feeling nervous, try focusing on the person you're speaking with instead of yourself. When you shift your focus away from your own anxieties and instead think about how you can help or connect with the other person, it takes the pressure off. Instead of worrying about how you're coming across, concentrate on the conversation. This mindset shift can make you feel much more relaxed and natural in your interactions. Another way to reduce nervousness is to practice. The more you practice speaking, the easier it becomes. You might not realize it, but every conversation you have is an opportunity to get better at handling nerves. Small interactions like ordering coffee, making small talk with a coworker, or even chatting with a friend are all chances to build your communication skills. Over time, you'll find that the more you practice, the less you worry about speaking up. You might also want to try speaking in front of a mirror or recording yourself. This can help you get used to hearing your own voice and seeing how you present yourself. You'll begin to notice things that work well and areas where you could improve. You don't need to be perfect, but becoming more comfortable with yourself can make a huge difference in how you communicate. Remember that people tend to appreciate when someone is genuine and authentic. You don't have to be flawless in your delivery. It's okay to make mistakes or stumble over words occasionally. In fact, it makes you more relatable. Being real about your nervousness, or even laughing at yourself when you make a small mistake, can help you connect with others. Most people won't judge you harshly. They'll respect you more for being open and sincere. It's also important to realize that most nervousness fades with experience. The more you practice speaking to others, the more comfortable you become. Speaking in public may seem daunting at first, but after doing it a few times, it becomes much easier. The fear of judgment decreases, and your confidence grows. So don't avoid situations where you need to speak. Embrace them as opportunities to improve. The next time you find yourself feeling nervous before a conversation or presentation, remember that it's completely normal. Breathe, focus on the person in front of you, and trust that you are capable of handling the situation. Over time, these strategies will help you manage your nerves and communicate more confidently. Speaking doesn't have to be an intimidating task. It can be a rewarding and fulfilling way to connect with others. With patience, practice, and self-compassion, you can become someone who speaks with ease, no matter the situation. Chapter 7. Tell stories that people remember. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools in communication. A good story has the ability to captivate an audience, convey important messages, and leave a lasting impression. Whether you're talking to friends, colleagues, or speaking in front of a large group, the stories you share can make your message more memorable and impactful. People connect with stories in a way that they don't with facts or data. Stories help make ideas come alive, evoke emotions, and build connections. One of the key aspects of a great story is its ability to engage listeners. A good story grabs attention right from the start and keeps the audience interested throughout. You want your audience to be curious about what happens next, to feel something as they listen. The best stories are those that create an emotional experience for the listener, whether it's laughter, excitement, or even sadness. The emotions you evoke through your story will be what people remember long after they've heard it. At the heart of every great story is a clear point. Whether you're telling a personal experience, sharing a lesson, or explaining a situation, there should always be a takeaway. What do you want people to learn or understand from your story? The more focused your story is, the more powerful it becomes. Too many details or a lack of direction can leave the listener confused or disengaged. Stick to the key points that matter the most and ensure that your message is clear. Good stories are relatable. People tend to connect with stories that reflect their own experiences or emotions. When you share a story that resonates with your audience, it creates a sense of shared understanding. A well-told story can break down barriers and help others see things from your perspective. It can also inspire others, show them they're not alone, or offer a new way of thinking about something. The more relatable your story is, the easier it is for others to connect with it. Every great story has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning should capture attention and set the stage for the rest of the story. It's the hook that draws your audience in. The middle is where the main events unfold, where the tension builds and the lesson or message starts to take shape. The end should offer resolution or closure. It's the part where everything comes together, leaving your audience with something to reflect on. A story that follows this structure feels complete and satisfying. Vivid details bring a story to life. Instead of just telling people what happened, describe the experience in a way that allows them to see it, feel it, and even hear it. Use sensory details, what you saw, heard, felt, or smelled. The more vivid you make your story, the more your audience can picture it in their minds. The goal is to make the story come alive, so that the listener feels like they're right there with you. The tone of your story is equally important. The way you tell a story can change its impact. The tone can range from light-hearted and humorous to serious and reflective, depending on the point you're trying to make. Pay attention to how you're delivering the story, your energy, your voice, and your pacing. If you're too rushed, the audience may not have time to absorb the details. If you're too slow or monotone, the story can lose its energy. Finding the right balance is crucial to keeping your audience engaged. Humor is another powerful element in storytelling. A well-placed joke or light-hearted moment can break the tension, make the audience laugh, and help them feel more connected to you. Humor can make your message more approachable and relatable, but it has to be used in the right context. Overdoing it or using humor in the wrong situation can distract from the point of your story. Keep the tone in line with the message you want to convey, and remember that the goal is to connect with your audience, not just entertain them. As you tell your stories, make sure you're mindful of the audience you're speaking to. A story that works well with friends might not be appropriate for a business presentation. The audience's background, interests, and emotions all play a role in how a story is received. For example, a story about overcoming obstacles might resonate deeply with someone who is facing challenges themselves, but might not have the same impact on someone who isn't in a similar situation. Understanding your audience helps you choose the right stories and present them in a way that speaks to them. It's important to be authentic in your storytelling. People can sense when a story is fake or exaggerated. If you're telling a personal story, be genuine about your experience. Don't try to make yourself seem better or more impressive than you really are. The best stories are those that come from a place of truth. People are drawn to vulnerability and authenticity. When you're open and real, others are more likely to connect with you and feel inspired by your story. Timing is a key part of storytelling. Knowing when to pause for effect, when to speed up to build excitement, and when to slow down to let a point sink in can make all the difference. The pacing of your story affects how the audience experiences it. If you rush through the key moments, the story loses its emotional punch. If you drag things out too long, people might start to lose interest. Learn to read your audience and adjust your pacing accordingly. Not every story needs to be dramatic or life-changing. Even simple, everyday stories can be powerful if told well. A story about a small, ordinary moment can hold deep meaning and be just as impactful as an extraordinary tale. The point is to tell a story that has heart, that teaches a lesson or illustrates an important idea. The best stories don't always need to be complex or grand. They just need to be real, relatable, and well told. Keep in mind that storytelling is a skill that improves with practice. The more you tell stories, the better you'll get at it. You'll start to find your own unique voice and style and learn what works best for different situations. Don't be discouraged if your first few attempts don't land the way you want. Just keep telling stories and refining your technique. Over time, you'll develop the confidence to tell stories that capture your audience's attention, engage their emotions, and leave a lasting impression. Stories are the bridge that connects people. They allow us to share experiences, express ourselves, and communicate in ways that words alone can't. The power of storytelling lies in its ability to inspire, teach, and create connections. With practice and intention, you can master this art and use it to communicate more effectively with everyone around you. Chapter 8. Handle tough conversations without stress. Difficult conversations are part of life. Whether it's with a close friend, a family member, or a colleague, there will be times when you need to discuss something that feels uncomfortable or sensitive. The thought of these conversations can often cause anxiety, but handling them well is essential for building stronger relationships and resolving conflicts. The key to managing tough conversations without stress lies in preparing yourself, staying calm, and approaching the situation with an open mind. One of the most important steps in handling difficult conversations is to remain calm. It's easy to let emotions take over when discussing something challenging, especially if you feel hurt or angry. However, when you allow your emotions to control the conversation, it often leads to misunderstandings or escalates the situation. Instead, take a moment to breathe, gather your thoughts, and remind yourself of the purpose of the conversation. If your goal is to resolve an issue, staying calm and composed is essential to getting there. It's also important to approach the conversation with empathy. Try to understand the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Everyone has their own feelings, experiences, and reasons for the way they act or think. Instead of focusing solely on your own point of view, make a conscious effort to listen to the other person. Show that you care about their feelings and concerns. When you approach the situation with empathy, it creates a more collaborative atmosphere and helps prevent the conversation from turning into a confrontation. Another aspect of handling tough conversations is being clear and direct. Avoid beating around the bush or being vague about what's bothering you. If there's a problem, be honest about it. However, honesty doesn't mean being harsh or rude. You can express your feelings in a respectful way without being confrontational. Instead of accusing or blaming the other person, use I statements to focus on how the situation is affecting you. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try saying, "I feel unheard when I try to share my thoughts." This subtle shift in language can help the other person understand your feelings without putting them on the defensive. Active listening is another critical component of a productive conversation. Instead of just waiting for your turn to speak, make a genuine effort to listen to what the other person is saying. Show that you're listening by nodding, maintaining eye contact, and responding thoughtfully to their words. This will not only help you better understand their perspective, but it also shows respect for their feelings. When you listen actively, it fosters an environment of trust and mutual respect, which can go a long way in resolving issues. Managing your body language during tough conversations is just as important as what you say. Your non-verbal cues can communicate just as much, if not more, than your words. If you cross your arms, roll your eyes, or avoid eye contact, the other person may feel that you're closed off or uninterested. On the other hand, open and positive body language, such as maintaining eye contact, leaning slightly forward, and using a calm tone of voice, signals that you're engaged and open to the conversation. Pay attention to how you're physically presenting yourself and make adjustments if needed to keep the dialogue respectful and productive. When it comes to resolving conflicts, compromise is often necessary. While you may not get everything you want in a difficult conversation, it's essential to find common ground. Be willing to listen to the other person's needs and see if there's a way to meet halfway. Compromise doesn't mean giving up your own values or needs, but it does mean being open to finding a solution that works for both sides. By approaching the situation with a mindset of collaboration, you increase the chances of finding a resolution that benefits everyone involved. Timing also plays a significant role in difficult conversations. Don't choose a moment when the other person is already stressed or distracted to bring up a sensitive topic. Likewise, don't wait until you're too upset to talk. It's important to find the right moment to discuss difficult issues so both parties can be present and receptive. If you're not sure when the right time is, don't hesitate to ask the other person if they're open to talking. This shows respect for their time and emotions. Another key aspect of handling tough conversations is staying focused on the issue at hand. It's easy to let a conversation spiral into a series of unrelated problems or past grievances. If you find that the discussion is veering off course, gently steer it back to the original topic. Stick to the facts and avoid bringing up old issues that have already been resolved. This helps prevent the conversation from becoming overwhelming and ensures that you stay on track to find a resolution. If the conversation becomes heated, it's okay to take a break. Sometimes, stepping away from the conversation for a few minutes can help both parties cool down and gather their thoughts. This is especially helpful if emotions are running high, as it gives both sides a chance to regain composure before continuing the discussion. You can always suggest a break if you feel things aren't progressing in a productive way. Just make sure to follow up after the break and resume the conversation with the intention of resolving the issue. In some cases, difficult conversations may require an apology. If you've made a mistake or hurt someone's feelings, owning up to it and offering a sincere apology can go a long way in rebuilding trust. Apologizing doesn't mean you're admitting fault in every situation, but it does show that you're taking responsibility for your actions and are committed to making things right. When apologizing, be specific about what you're sorry for and express genuine regret. This can help heal wounds and pave the way for a more constructive conversation. Finally, remember that not every difficult conversation will end with an immediate solution. Sometimes it takes time to work through an issue. The important thing is that you've created an open dialogue, demonstrated respect for each other's perspectives, and laid the groundwork for future communication. Even if the conversation doesn't resolve everything right away, the process itself can strengthen the relationship and pave the way for future discussions. Handling difficult conversations without stress takes practice. The more you engage in these types of discussions, the better you'll become at managing them with confidence and composure. While they may never be entirely stress-free, approaching them with patience, empathy, and a willingness to listen will make them more manageable. By following these principles, you can navigate even the toughest conversations with ease, creating stronger and more meaningful connections along the way. Chapter 9. Build strong connections with anyone. Building strong connections with others is one of the most rewarding and impactful skills you can develop. At the heart of any successful relationship, whether personal or professional, is the ability to connect. This connection creates trust, fosters open communication, and lays the foundation for collaboration and support. While it may seem like some people are naturally good at connecting with others, the truth is that anyone can learn to build and maintain meaningful relationships by understanding a few key principles and practicing them consistently. The first step in building strong connections is showing genuine interest in others. People want to feel valued, and one of the best ways to show that you care is to actively listen to them. When someone speaks, really focus on what they are saying. Don't just wait for your turn to talk, but make an effort to understand their point of view. Ask questions to dive deeper into their thoughts, and respond in a way that shows you're engaged and paying attention. This makes people feel heard, and when they feel heard, they are much more likely to trust you and open up to you. Effective communication goes both ways. It's not just about expressing your own thoughts and feelings, but also about creating a safe space for others to share theirs. Building strong connections requires a two-way exchange where both parties feel understood and respected. This means being empathetic and trying to see the world through the other person's eyes. People are more likely to connect with you when they feel like you truly care about their feelings, needs, and experiences. In any interaction, ask yourself how the other person might be feeling and how you can show them that you care. Trust is another cornerstone of strong relationships. Without trust, any connection is fragile and unlikely to withstand challenges. Building trust takes time, but it starts with being reliable and consistent. Do what you say you'll do, follow through on promises, and be there when you say you will. This shows the other person that you are dependable and trustworthy. It also means being honest, even when the truth might be uncomfortable. Transparency helps build a foundation of trust that can withstand misunderstandings or disagreements. It's equally important to be authentic. Trying to be someone you're not in an effort to impress others will only create a superficial connection. People are drawn to authenticity. When you're genuine about who you are, others will feel more comfortable doing the same. Don't be afraid to share your true self with others, even if it means being vulnerable. Vulnerability creates deeper connections because it shows that you are willing to be real and honest, which encourages others to do the same. Another important aspect of building strong connections is making an effort to spend quality time with others. Relationships don't thrive on occasional interactions. They need consistent investment. This could mean making time for regular catch-ups, checking in on someone when they're going through a tough time, or simply spending time together to enjoy each other's company. In the busy world we live in, it's easy to let relationships fall to the wayside, but by prioritizing time with others, you show that they matter to you. This effort reinforces the bond and ensures that the connection continues to grow. In addition to spending time together, showing appreciation for others is key to strengthening any relationship. People want to feel valued, so acknowledging their efforts, expressing gratitude, and celebrating their successes goes a long way in deepening the connection. You don't have to wait for a big event to show appreciation. Small gestures, like saying thank you, complimenting someone, or letting them know you're thinking of them, can have a big impact. These simple acts of kindness create a sense of warmth and belonging, making others feel good about the relationship. Strong connections also require a sense of respect. Respecting someone means accepting their opinions, values, and boundaries, even if they differ from your own. Everyone has their own unique perspective, and it's important to honor that. Disagreements are inevitable, but they don't have to lead to conflict if both parties respect each other's viewpoints. Rather than trying to change someone's mind or win an argument, focus on understanding their perspective and finding common ground. This approach promotes healthy, constructive conversations that strengthen relationships instead of damaging them. It's also essential to be supportive in your relationships. Whether someone is pursuing a goal, dealing with a personal challenge, or just needs a listening ear, being there for them makes a huge difference. Support is a powerful way to build trust and connection. It shows that you're not just interested in what someone can do for you, but that you genuinely care about their well-being and success. Offering encouragement, lending a hand when needed, or simply being a reliable source of emotional support strengthens the bond between you. Another key to building strong connections is being patient. Relationships take time to develop, and rushing them can lead to misunderstandings or unrealistic expectations. Allow the relationship to evolve naturally, and don't force it. Trust and understanding grow gradually, and trying to rush the process can create unnecessary pressure. Be patient with others and with yourself. Building meaningful connections is a journey, not a race, and the more you focus on the process, the more rewarding the results will be. Handling conflicts with grace is also essential for maintaining strong connections. Disagreements are bound to happen in any relationship, but how you handle them can make all the difference. Instead of letting conflicts create division, use them as opportunities for growth. Approach disagreements with a mindset of resolution rather than confrontation. Listen to the other person's perspective. Express your own thoughts calmly and work together to find a solution that works for both sides. When you handle conflict well, it actually strengthens the bond, showing that you can navigate challenges together and come out stronger on the other side. Don't forget the importance of fun and lightheartedness in relationships. While serious discussions and support are vital, it's equally important to share laughter, joy, and positivity with others. Humor and shared experiences help to deepen connections by creating positive memories that both parties can cherish. Whether it's a spontaneous joke, a fun activity, or simply enjoying each other's company without any pressure, the light moments in a relationship are just as important as the serious ones. These moments help create a well-rounded and balanced connection. Building strong connections is an ongoing effort, and while it may take time, the rewards are worth it. The relationships you cultivate are not only valuable in the present, but they also serve as a foundation for future support, collaboration, and personal growth. By showing genuine interest, being authentic, communicating with empathy, and investing time and energy into the people around you, you create bonds that will last a lifetime. Strong connections not only enrich your personal life, but also enhance your professional success, helping you thrive in all aspects of your life. Chapter 10. Use communication to succeed in life. Success in life isn't just about working hard, it's about knowing how to communicate effectively. When you communicate well, doors open, opportunities arise, relationships grow stronger, and goals become more achievable. The way you interact with people, express your thoughts, and listen to others can have a profound impact on your life. Whether it's in the workplace, at home, or in your social circles, mastering communication is one of the most powerful tools for success. When you begin to harness the full potential of communication, you will notice that things start shifting in your life. You start having better conversations, creating deeper connections, and achieving more of what you want. It's not about what you say, but how you say it. The tone, the intention, and the energy behind your words can make all the difference. The first step in using communication to succeed is understanding its importance. Communication isn't just about talking, it's about conveying a message in a way that others understand and resonate with. Clear communication leads to clarity, and clarity leads to action. When people understand your thoughts, your plans, and your goals, they can support you, help you, and collaborate with you to achieve them. But if your message is unclear or confusing, it can lead to misunderstandings and missed opportunities. Take time to refine your ability to express yourself, both verbally and non-verbally, and watch how it transforms your relationships and work life. Being a good communicator means that you're not just sending messages out into the world, you're also receiving them. One of the best ways to make the most out of every interaction is to be an active listener. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Listen to understand. Ask questions, pay attention to body language, and make sure you grasp what the other person is really saying. When you listen attentively, you're showing respect and creating a space for a meaningful exchange. The more you listen, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the better equipped you are to respond in ways that bring about the outcomes you desire. Effective communication is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's important to adapt your style depending on who you're talking to. You wouldn't communicate with a boss the same way you would with a close friend. Similarly, the way you talk to a colleague might differ from how you speak with a client or a partner. Understanding the needs of the other person and adjusting your tone, choice of words, and delivery is key to ensuring your message is well received. Tailoring your communication to fit the situation and the individual can make all the difference in achieving a positive outcome. One thing to remember is that communication isn't always about talking at all. Sometimes it's about knowing when to be silent and let the other person speak. There is strength in pause. If you're always talking, you might miss valuable information. If you're constantly speaking, it can be harder for others to feel heard and understood. Silence allows space for the other person to contribute, to think, and to process. It also gives you a moment to reflect on the conversation, gather your thoughts, and ensure that your response is both thoughtful and meaningful. Confidence plays a huge role in communication. When you speak with confidence, people listen, they trust you, they believe in your message. Confidence in communication doesn't mean arrogance. It simply means that you are sure of what you're saying, and you trust that your voice matters. If you're unsure, take the time to gather your thoughts before speaking. Practice helps you build confidence, and the more you practice, the more naturally you'll be able to communicate with clarity and authority. Another aspect of communication that's often overlooked is the power of non-verbal cues. Your body language, facial expressions, and posture speak volumes. They can reinforce what you're saying or send mixed signals. A simple gesture like making eye contact or offering a warm smile can make someone feel more comfortable and open to what you have to say. On the flip side, crossing your arms or avoiding eye contact can create distance and make it harder to connect. Pay attention to your body language and how it aligns with your words. Being aware of non-verbal communication ensures that you're sending a clear, cohesive message. When it comes to achieving success, how you communicate under pressure matters just as much as how you communicate in calm moments. Stressful situations are inevitable, and it's in these moments that communication can either make or break the outcome. When emotions run high, it's easy to speak impulsively or defensively. However, in these high-stakes moments, it's important to stay composed. Take a deep breath, pause before responding, and focus on the facts. Instead of reacting emotionally, try to respond thoughtfully. This will help you maintain control of the situation and ensure that your communication is productive, even in difficult circumstances. One of the most powerful aspects of communication is the ability to inspire others. When you communicate in a way that is clear, passionate, and authentic, you motivate others to act. Whether it's encouraging a team at work, inspiring your family, or supporting a friend, how you communicate can influence the actions and attitudes of those around you. People are drawn to leaders who speak with conviction, clarity, and purpose. If you can inspire others through your words, you create a ripple effect that drives success not only for yourself, but for those around you. The ability to communicate effectively can also be a game changer when it comes to resolving conflicts. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship, but the way you communicate during a disagreement can determine whether the situation improves or escalates. The key is to approach conflicts with a mindset of resolution, not confrontation. This means being calm, listening actively, and seeking to understand the other person's point of view. By maintaining respect and openness, you can navigate conflicts in a way that strengthens the relationship rather than tearing it apart. Another important skill in communication is the ability to give and receive feedback. Constructive feedback is essential for personal and professional growth. When you give feedback, make sure it's specific, respectful, and solution-oriented. Focus on the behavior, not the person, and offer suggestions for improvement. Similarly, when receiving feedback, listen without getting defensive. Take the time to reflect on what's being said and use it as an opportunity to grow. Feedback, when handled correctly, can be a powerful tool for continuous improvement. One of the biggest barriers to effective communication is the fear of rejection or judgment. Many people hold themselves back from speaking up because they're afraid of what others might think. This fear can stifle your ability to express yourself and can prevent you from building strong relationships or advancing in your career. Overcoming this fear requires practice, courage, and self-compassion. The more you push through these fears and communicate openly, the easier it becomes. Remember, the only way to truly grow is to take risks, put yourself out there, and trust that your voice is valuable. Communication is not just about success in the workplace. It impacts your life in every area. The relationships you build with your family, your friends, and your colleagues all rely on communication. The better you are at expressing yourself, the more connected you become with those around you. The more connected you are, the more opportunities you'll have to succeed, to grow, and to thrive. Whether you're working toward a career goal, building stronger personal relationships, or just trying to make your voice heard, the ability to communicate effectively is the key to unlocking your full potential. Mastering communication is one of the most important skills you can develop, and it's never too late to start. Each conversation is an opportunity to practice, to learn, and to improve. By becoming a better communicator, you'll not only achieve more in your own life, but you'll also be able to lift others up and help them succeed too. Communication is the bridge that connects us. Use it wisely, and it will take you farther than you ever imagined. Chapter 11. Ask better questions to get better answers. Asking questions is one of the most powerful tools in communication, yet it's often overlooked. When we ask the right questions, we open doors to deeper understanding, clearer direction, and better decision-making. Questions aren't just about seeking information. They are about creating connections, fostering engagement, and moving conversations in a more meaningful direction. The quality of the questions you ask can shape the quality of the answers you receive, and in turn, the quality of your life. To begin with, it's important to understand why asking good questions matters so much. Think about the conversations you've had in the past. When someone asked you a question that made you think deeply, you likely felt more engaged, more valued, and more connected to that person. Good questions show that you care, that you're invested in the conversation, and that you want to understand the other person's perspective. They invite others to share more of themselves, to reflect, and to open up in a way that might not happen with surface-level questions. The key to asking better questions starts with knowing what you want to learn or achieve from the conversation. Without a clear purpose, questions can feel disjointed or irrelevant. It's not enough to ask just for the sake of asking. When you're having a conversation, take a moment to think about what outcome you're hoping for. Are you looking for advice? Are you seeking clarity? Are you trying to understand someone's feelings? By having a specific intention in mind, you can ask questions that align with that purpose, making the conversation more productive and focused. One of the most effective ways to ask better questions is to make them open-ended. Open-ended questions are those that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. These types of questions encourage deeper thinking, invite elaboration, and promote richer conversations. Instead of asking, "Did you enjoy the event?" you might ask, "What did you enjoy most about the event?" This subtle shift invites the other person to reflect and share more detailed thoughts, rather than just giving a quick, surface-level response. Open-ended questions foster a connection by allowing the other person to express themselves more fully, and they give you the chance to learn more about their perspectives. It's also important to listen carefully to the answers you receive. Too often, we ask questions without truly paying attention to the response. Instead of listening for the sake of understanding, we're already thinking about the next question we want to ask. This creates a disconnect, and it can make the other person feel like they're not being heard. When you ask a question, give the other person the time and space to respond fully. Be present in the conversation and focus on what they are saying. This not only strengthens the connection, but also helps you ask even better follow-up questions that are based on what's been shared. Asking the right questions also requires a sense of curiosity. You've probably heard the phrase, "Curiosity killed the cat," but in reality, curiosity is a powerful force for good. It's what drives innovation, problem-solving, and meaningful dialogue. When you approach conversations with curiosity, you're more likely to ask insightful questions that lead to greater understanding. You might find yourself asking things like, "What made you choose that path?" or "How did you come to that conclusion?" These types of questions show that you're not just going through the motions, but that you genuinely want to learn from the person you're speaking with. Another element of asking great questions is timing. A well-timed question can change the course of a conversation. If you ask something too early or too late, it might not have the desired effect. Pay attention to the flow of the conversation and look for moments where a thoughtful question can provide clarity or provoke deeper reflection. Timing is key in ensuring that your questions feel natural and relevant rather than forced or out of place. One of the most powerful aspects of asking questions is that it doesn't just apply to conversations with others. It can also be an incredibly effective tool for self-reflection. The questions you ask yourself can shape the way you think, feel, and act. When you ask yourself the right questions, you create an opportunity to grow and evolve. For example, instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this situation?" The latter question shifts your focus from feeling stuck or helpless to taking ownership of your experiences and using them as stepping stones for personal growth. Self-directed questions are a powerful way to push yourself forward, develop new perspectives, and identify areas for improvement. In professional settings, asking questions can be a game changer. Whether you're in a meeting, working on a project, or collaborating with a team, the questions you ask can drive innovation, spark new ideas, and lead to better outcomes. Instead of assuming you already know the answers, approach challenges with a sense of inquiry. Ask questions that encourage creative thinking, problem-solving, and exploration. Questions like, "What's the bigger picture here?" or "How can we approach this differently?" can help shift the focus from narrow solutions to more comprehensive and innovative strategies. One of the most impactful places to use the art of questioning is in leadership. As a leader, your ability to ask the right questions can inspire your team, encourage collaboration, and create an environment of trust. Instead of giving orders or making decisions for others, ask questions that empower them to think for themselves. Questions like, "How do you think we should tackle this challenge?" or "What's your take on this?" Give your team a sense of ownership and responsibility. When people feel like their input matters, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated to contribute their best work. Asking questions is also a powerful tool in building and maintaining relationships. When you take the time to ask thoughtful questions, it shows the other person that you value their thoughts and opinions. You're showing that you care about their perspective, which strengthens the connection between you. Whether it's a close friend, a family member, or a romantic partner, asking questions that go beyond surface-level topics creates a deeper bond. Instead of just talking about the weather or the latest news, ask about their dreams, their challenges, and their experiences. This not only makes the conversation more meaningful, but also strengthens the trust and understanding between you. There's a fine line between asking good questions and prying too much. While curiosity is essential, it's important to respect boundaries and avoid making others feel uncomfortable. Always be mindful of the context of the conversation and the other person's emotional state. If they're not ready to answer a certain question, don't push them. Respect for others' privacy is just as important as curiosity, and being able to navigate that balance is a key component of strong communication. At times, the best questions are the simplest ones. You don't need to ask complex or profound questions to make an impact. A simple, "How are you feeling about this?" or "What can I do to support you?" can be incredibly effective in creating an open and meaningful conversation. Don't underestimate the power of a genuine question. It shows that you're present, that you care, and that you want to engage in a way that truly benefits the other person. Asking better questions is a skill that can be developed with practice. The more you consciously work on asking thoughtful, open-ended, and well-timed questions, the better you'll become at it. Over time, you'll find that your conversations become more productive, more insightful, and more meaningful. Not only will you deepen your relationships, but you'll also gain a greater understanding of yourself and the world around you. By asking better questions, you open up a world of possibilities both for you and for the people you engage with. Chapter 12. How to make a great first impression. The first impression you make in any situation can set the tone for the entire interaction. Whether you're meeting someone for the first time, entering a room, or starting a conversation, that initial moment carries weight. People often judge us based on those first few seconds or minutes, and the impact of that judgment can last much longer than we might realize. While we can't control every aspect of how people perceive us, there's a lot we can do to improve how we present ourselves and ensure that we leave a positive mark. One of the most important things to remember is that people form opinions quickly. Studies show that it only takes a few seconds for someone to make a judgment about you when they first meet you. This judgment is often based on non-verbal cues, like body language, facial expressions, and overall demeanor. It's not necessarily about what you say, but how you say it and how you carry yourself in those first moments. That's why it's crucial to be mindful of your posture, your tone, and your energy level when you first interact with someone. It's easy to forget how important body language is, but it speaks volumes. How you stand, how you make eye contact, and even how you position your arms can influence how someone perceives you. When you walk into a room, stand tall, keep your shoulders back and your head held high. This simple adjustment can make you seem more confident, more approachable, and more competent. And when it comes to eye contact, make sure it's natural. Don't stare at someone, but don't avoid looking them in the eye either. A balanced amount of eye contact signals that you're engaged and interested in the conversation. It shows that you respect the other person and are paying attention. Another factor that plays into making a great first impression is your energy. When you walk into a room, how do you carry yourself? Are you slouched, distracted, or anxious? Or do you walk in with a sense of purpose, a smile on your face, and a positive attitude? The energy you bring with you can have a huge impact on how others respond to you. If you walk in with enthusiasm and a friendly demeanor, people will be more likely to respond positively. People are naturally drawn to those who exude positive energy, so make sure your vibe matches the kind of interaction you want to have. Being mindful of your tone is also crucial. How you speak is just as important as what you say. A friendly, warm tone can make even the simplest statement sound more inviting and engaging. On the other hand, a cold or harsh tone can create distance and make others feel uncomfortable. Pay attention to how you sound when you first speak to someone. Aim for a tone that is calm, warm, and approachable. This will help create a sense of connection right from the start. Of course, the words you use matter too. When you meet someone for the first time, it's important to use language that is polite and respectful. A simple "nice to meet you" can go a long way in making the other person feel valued. But it's also important to show genuine interest in them. Ask questions, show curiosity about their life, and listen attentively. People appreciate when others take the time to understand them, and this can create an instant bond. A common mistake many people make when meeting someone new is focusing too much on themselves. They may try to impress the other person by talking about their own achievements, experiences, or qualities. While it's natural to want to share about yourself, remember that a first impression is a two-way street. The person you're meeting is likely just as interested in learning about you as you are about them. So, try not to dominate the conversation. Ask questions, listen, and allow the other person to share their thoughts and experiences. This creates a sense of balance and mutual respect, which will leave a lasting positive impression. One way to ensure that you're leaving a good first impression is to be mindful of your appearance. The way you dress, the way you present yourself physically, can say a lot about your level of care and attention to detail. You don't need to wear designer clothes or have a perfectly polished look, but taking the time to look neat, clean, and well-groomed shows that you take pride in yourself and in the impression you're making. Your appearance doesn't have to be flashy, but it should reflect a level of respect for both yourself and the people you're interacting with. Another important element of making a great first impression is being punctual. Showing up on time or even a few minutes early demonstrates that you value the other person's time and that you're reliable. Being late, on the other hand, can create a negative first impression, even if it's only by a few minutes. People tend to associate punctuality with professionalism, respect, and reliability, so always make an effort to be on time whenever possible. One thing to keep in mind is that first impressions aren't just about the physical interaction. The way you follow up and maintain that connection after the initial meeting is just as important. A thoughtful follow-up message, or a simple thank you, can reinforce the positive impression you made. It shows that you're not just interested in the immediate interaction, but that you value the relationship and want to nurture it moving forward. A quick note or message can make a world of difference and help solidify the connection you've started. First impressions also play a crucial role in professional settings. Whether you're interviewing for a job, meeting with a client, or networking with colleagues, how you present yourself in those first few moments can have a big impact on your career. In professional settings, it's especially important to balance confidence with humility. You want to appear capable and competent, but not arrogant. It's important to communicate your strengths without bragging or overselling yourself. Focus on your skills and experiences in a way that feels natural and authentic. In addition to body language, tone, and words, emotional intelligence plays a huge role in first impressions. Being able to read the room, understand the mood, and adapt your approach accordingly can make a huge difference. For example, if someone seems anxious or stressed, offering a calming presence can help put them at ease. On the other hand, if someone is upbeat and enthusiastic, matching that energy can create a stronger connection. Being aware of others' emotions and responding accordingly shows that you're tuned in to the situation and that you care about how others feel. Making a good first impression isn't just about impressing others or showing off. It's about creating a positive, genuine connection from the start. It's about making others feel comfortable, respected, and valued. While you can't control every aspect of how someone else perceives you, you do have the power to influence the way you present yourself. By paying attention to body language, tone, appearance, and emotional cues, you can ensure that your first impression is one that leaves others with a lasting positive feeling. It's also important to remember that first impressions can be a starting point for deeper connections. Just because you've made a positive impression initially doesn't mean the relationship will automatically blossom into something meaningful. The foundation has been set, but it's up to you to nurture that connection, be consistent, and continue to show up as your authentic self. First impressions are just the beginning of a longer journey, And with effort, patience, and sincerity, you can turn those initial moments into lasting relationships. Chapter 13. Speak with emotion to keep people interested. The way we communicate can make a world of difference in how our message is received. When we speak with emotion, we don't just convey words, we convey feelings, attitudes, and a sense of passion that can either captivate or disconnect others. People remember how you make them feel more than the specifics of what you say. This emotional connection is the secret ingredient that can make your words stick in someone's mind long after the conversation ends. It's easy to think of communication as simply a transaction of information. You have something to say, and the listener's job is to understand it. But communication is far more powerful when it becomes a shared experience. It's not just about exchanging data, it's about creating a bond, about making someone else feel something. When you speak with emotion, your words become an experience for the listener. They become engaged in your message in a way that simple facts or dry statements could never achieve. Emotion is a powerful tool in any conversation. It allows you to express your sincerity, enthusiasm, and belief in what you're saying. When you're emotionally invested in your message, the listener picks up on that energy. They can feel it. Whether you're sharing excitement about a new opportunity or expressing empathy for someone's struggles, your emotional tone makes your words resonate more deeply. It's this emotional resonance that makes your communication effective, memorable, and impactful. Think about the last time someone shared something with you, and you felt truly moved by their words. Chances are, it wasn't just the content of what they said, but the emotion behind it. Maybe they were speaking about something they were deeply passionate about, or perhaps they were sharing something personal and vulnerable. Whatever it was, you could feel their authenticity and sincerity. That's the kind of connection we want to build when we communicate. When we speak from the heart, people can feel our sincerity, and that draws them in. Emotions can also serve as a bridge to understanding. When we speak with empathy, for example, we show that we understand and care about the listener's feelings. Empathy in communication isn't about agreeing with someone's perspective. It's about acknowledging their experience. When you express empathy, you're telling the other person, "I see you, I hear you, I understand what you're going through." This kind of emotional communication helps build trust and strengthens relationships. On the flip side, when you communicate without emotion, your words can come across as flat or disconnected. Even the most important information can lose its impact if it's not delivered with passion. Think of a time when you were on the receiving end of a speech or a presentation where the speaker was monotone, detached, or indifferent. No matter how valuable the message was, the lack of emotional connection made it hard to stay engaged. It's not enough to speak. We need to speak with intent and emotion if we want to truly capture attention and make an impact. One of the keys to speaking with emotion is authenticity. When you express your true feelings, whether it's excitement, concern, joy, or passion, people can sense it. They can tell when you're being genuine, and that makes them more likely to respond in kind. Authenticity makes you relatable. It makes you real. People can tell when you're just going through the motions, and they can also tell when you're deeply connected to your words. The more real and vulnerable you allow yourself to be, the more the other person will feel it. The best communicators know that emotions aren't just a means of getting attention. They're a way of creating a real connection with others. When you allow yourself to feel the emotions of a conversation, you tap into a deeper level of communication. This connection goes beyond words. It creates a space where people can relate to each other's experiences and feelings. This is what makes communication more than just an exchange of facts. It becomes a shared experience that fosters trust, understanding, and even growth. Another essential aspect of speaking with emotion is balance. Emotions are powerful, but they must be managed. Overwhelming someone with too much emotion can be just as ineffective as speaking in a dry, monotone voice. A good communicator knows when to emphasize their feelings and when to tone them down. It's about finding that sweet spot, where your emotions are felt but not overbearing. Think of a storyteller who knows exactly when to raise their voice in excitement and when to slow down and speak softly. This balance keeps the audience engaged without overwhelming them. Timing is also crucial when it comes to speaking with emotion. A well-timed emotional pause can make a huge impact on your message. When you pause for a moment, you allow the weight of your words to sink in. This pause gives your listeners time to process what you've said and connect with the emotion behind it. It also gives you a chance to collect yourself, to make sure you're delivering your message with the right emotional tone. Emotions in communication don't just happen by chance. They are intentional. You need to be aware of how you're feeling in any given moment and how that will affect the way you communicate. Are you feeling enthusiastic? Use that energy to share your excitement. Are you feeling calm and centered? Use that to create a sense of reassurance. Every emotion has its place in communication. Your job as a communicator is to harness those emotions and use them to connect with others in a meaningful way. Sometimes, it's not just about expressing your own emotions, but also about recognizing and responding to the emotions of others. When you can pick up on someone else's feelings and adjust your communication to meet their emotional needs, you show that you're paying attention to them. This emotional attunement makes you a better communicator because it demonstrates that you are fully present in the conversation and that you care about the other person's experience. Speaking with emotion also means being aware of your body language. Your physical expression can either reinforce or contradict the emotion you're trying to convey with your words. A smile, a nod, a raised eyebrow, or even the way you gesture with your hands can all communicate emotions that words alone cannot. Your body language should align with your verbal message so that both elements are working together to create a clear, emotionally charged communication. The key to effective emotional communication is being present. When you're present in the moment, you're not just thinking about what you're going to say next or worrying about how you're coming across. You're fully engaged with the conversation, with the other person, and with the emotion that's being shared. This kind of mindfulness allows you to communicate more effectively and authentically. At the heart of speaking with emotion is the idea of connection. When you speak with emotion, you're not just talking to someone, you're reaching out to them, sharing a part of yourself, and inviting them to connect with you on a deeper level. Whether you're trying to inspire, comfort, or simply communicate, your emotions are the key to creating that connection. The more emotionally in tune you are with yourself and others, the stronger your ability to communicate and build meaningful relationships. This emotional connection is the foundation for powerful, persuasive communication. It's what makes your words stand out and stick with people. The emotion you convey makes your message memorable. It's the reason why a moving speech, a heartfelt conversation, or even a well-crafted piece of writing can resonate with us long after the moment has passed. Emotion is what turns a simple exchange of words into a lasting impression. It's the bridge that connects us all, no matter the topic at hand. Chapter 14. Stop overthinking and speak up. When it comes to communication, the hardest part is often the first step, speaking up. The fear of saying the wrong thing, of being judged, or simply not knowing how to begin can be overwhelming. You might find yourself overthinking, second-guessing every word, and ultimately staying quiet because the pressure to say the perfect thing feels too high. But here's the reality. Communication isn't about perfection, it's about connecting. And that starts with being willing to speak, even if it's not flawless. There are so many moments where we hold back because we're unsure. We worry that our thoughts aren't organized enough, that our words won't come out right, or that we'll stumble over our sentences. But the truth is, the best communicators aren't those who never make mistakes. They're the ones who speak anyway, in spite of the fear, in spite of the doubt. They know that the first step is to simply start. Once you open your mouth, the rest will follow. The thing is, no one expects perfection from you. What people want is authenticity. They want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, and your perspective. Whether you're speaking in a meeting, having a casual conversation, or even sharing your thoughts in a written message, what matters most is your willingness to communicate, to express yourself. If you allow yourself to speak freely, without overthinking every word, you'll find that the flow comes much more easily. It's the hesitation and the worry that make it difficult to get started in the first place. One of the easiest ways to overcome the fear of speaking up is to reframe your mindset. Instead of thinking that everything you say needs to be perfect, think of it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each conversation, each exchange, is a chance to get better at articulating your thoughts. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. No one becomes a great communicator by staying quiet. It's through consistent effort, through speaking up even when it feels uncomfortable, that we improve. Overthinking often leads to paralysis. When we're too focused on getting every detail just right, we end up second-guessing ourselves so much that we never actually say anything. This fear of being imperfect can hold us back from connecting with others. But it's important to understand that communication isn't about being flawless, it's about being genuine. People respond to honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to share. So, instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect words, just speak. Say what's on your mind, and allow the conversation to flow naturally. One key to speaking up confidently is recognizing that your voice matters. Everyone has a unique perspective, and your thoughts are just as important as anyone else's. When you remind yourself of this, the pressure to be perfect lessens. You start to see that what you have to say is valuable, and it's worth sharing, even if it's not perfectly crafted. The fear of being judged fades when you realize that your voice is needed and appreciated. In many situations, the pressure to speak perfectly comes from our own expectations. We expect ourselves to always have the right words, to come across as knowledgeable, and to be completely articulate. But this sets an unrealistic standard. The truth is, everyone has moments of hesitation, everyone stumbles over words occasionally, and everyone forgets what they were going to say. It's part of being human, and that's okay. What matters is that you speak anyway, that you push past the fear and share what's on your mind. When you speak up, you give others the opportunity to hear you, and that's where connection begins. It's through communication that relationships are built, that ideas are exchanged, and that understanding is fostered. But none of this can happen if you stay silent. Your voice is your tool for connection, and the more you use it, the stronger your ability to communicate becomes. It's also important to remember that not every conversation requires deep insight or a perfectly constructed argument. Sometimes it's enough to simply be present, to offer your thoughts, and to listen. Communication isn't a one-way street, it's a dialogue. So, by participating, by sharing your voice, you help shape the conversation, and that makes the exchange richer and more meaningful for everyone involved. Another way to stop overthinking is by focusing on the message rather than the delivery. It's easy to get caught up in how you're speaking, the tone of your voice, the words you use, the way you're perceived. But when you shift your focus to the content of what you're saying, the fear of making a mistake fades. The content is what truly matters, because it's the substance of your message that resonates with people, not how you say it. The pressure to speak perfectly can also come from the fear of being misunderstood. We worry that our words won't come across the way we intend them to. But here's the thing, misunderstandings happen, and when they do, they're an opportunity to clarify, to further explain, and to connect. The key is not to let the fear of being misunderstood stop you from speaking at all. Communication is a process, and part of that process is ensuring that your message is received in the way you intend. And if something isn't clear, you can always correct it. In those moments when you feel nervous or unsure, try to focus on your intention behind speaking. Why are you having this conversation? What is your purpose? Whether it's to share an idea, ask for help, or simply connect with someone, grounding yourself in your intention helps you move past the fear of making a mistake. When you speak from a place of purpose, it becomes easier to push through the doubts and fears that can hold you back. One way to make speaking up feel less intimidating is to practice in smaller, less high-pressure situations. Start with casual conversation, talking to a friend, sharing your thoughts with a colleague, or even expressing an opinion in a group chat. The more you practice speaking in everyday situations, the more comfortable you'll become. Over time, this confidence will translate to more important conversations, and you'll find that speaking up becomes second nature. The reality is, every time you speak, you're learning. Every conversation, every speech, every exchange gives you the opportunity to refine your communication skills. So, instead of worrying about being perfect, focus on the experience. Speak without hesitation, make your point, and see where the conversation leads. The more you practice, the better you'll become at navigating different situations, expressing yourself clearly, and connecting with others. Fear and overthinking may never disappear completely, but they don't have to control you. Every time you push past them, you're growing. Every time you speak up, you're building your communication skills. The more you speak, the less you worry about saying the perfect thing, and the more you focus on the genuine connection you're creating. In the end, communication isn't about being flawless. It's about being authentic, engaging, and open to the exchange of ideas and experiences. And that starts with speaking up, no matter how imperfect it may feel at first. Chapter 15. Communicating in stressful situations. In stressful situations, communication can feel like the last thing on our minds. When we're anxious, overwhelmed, or under pressure, it's easy to forget how to articulate our thoughts clearly. Stress can cloud our judgment and make it difficult to form coherent sentences. However, effective communication in stressful moments is not only possible, it's essential. How we communicate when things get tense can shape the outcome of a situation and determine how we're perceived by others. The first step is to recognize that stress is a natural part of life. Whether it's a tight deadline, an unexpected challenge, or a disagreement with someone, stress will come, but it doesn't have to dictate how we communicate. In these moments, taking a pause can make all the difference. When stress hits, our automatic response might be to react quickly, but this can often lead to miscommunication or saying things we don't mean. Taking a moment to breathe and collect your thoughts can help you respond more thoughtfully. By giving yourself the space to pause, you take control of the conversation instead of letting stress control you. It's crucial to understand that in stressful situations, your body language speaks volumes. Your posture, gestures, and facial expressions convey a lot about how you're feeling, even if you're not saying anything at all. If you're tense or anxious, it's likely that others will pick up on it. This can affect how they respond to you and can escalate the stress of the situation. To communicate effectively, it's important to be aware of how your body is reacting. Relaxing your shoulders, taking a deep breath, and making sure your posture is open can help you feel more grounded and in control, which can make it easier to communicate calmly. One of the key aspects of communication in stressful situations is staying focused on the message rather than getting caught up in the emotions of the moment. It's easy to get wrapped up in how we're feeling when things aren't going our way, but when we allow our emotions to take over, we risk losing clarity in our communication. Focus on what you need to convey, not how you're feeling in the moment. This will help you stay clear and concise, ensuring that the message is heard without getting lost in emotional reactions. When you're under pressure, it's also helpful to take a step back and prioritize what matters most. In stressful situations, it's easy to feel like everything needs to be addressed immediately. But trying to tackle everything at once can lead to confusion and frustration. Instead, focus on one thing at a time. What is the most urgent issue that needs to be resolved? What point is most important for the other person to understand? When you simplify your approach and focus on the most crucial elements of the conversation, you can avoid feeling overwhelmed and improve your communication. Another effective way to manage stress in communication is to stay calm and composed. This doesn't mean you need to suppress your emotions, but rather that you acknowledge your feelings and choose to respond thoughtfully. When you remain calm, you create an environment where others are more likely to stay calm as well. This can help diffuse tension and allow for a more productive conversation. When you express yourself calmly, you're more likely to be heard and understood, as people are generally more receptive to calm, measured responses. Active listening plays a significant role in stressful conversations. When emotions are high, it's easy to become so focused on what we want to say that we forget to listen. However, communication is a two-way street. Listening actively, not just waiting for your turn to speak, helps. You understand the other person's point of view and respond appropriately. When you listen carefully, you can address their concerns more effectively, which helps ease tension and builds trust. Active listening involves not only hearing the words but also picking up on the emotional tone behind them. This deeper level of listening allows you to respond with empathy, which can significantly improve the quality of the conversation. Empathy is particularly important when stress is involved. When we're in high-pressure situations, it's easy to become self-focused, thinking only about our own feelings and concerns. But by taking the time to understand the other person's perspective, you can foster a connection that helps ease the tension, show that you understand their frustration or anxiety, and acknowledge their feelings. This doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but expressing empathy can make the other person feel heard, which often helps reduce stress and pave the way for a more positive exchange. One powerful tool for communicating effectively under stress is asking clarifying questions. In situations where emotions are high, things can easily get misinterpreted. Rather than making assumptions, ask questions to ensure you understand the other person's message. This not only helps clear up confusion, but it also shows that you're engaged and invested in the conversation. Clarifying questions also help keep the focus on the issue at hand, rather than letting the conversation spiral out of control. This small act of asking questions can prevent miscommunication and keep the dialogue productive. When you're feeling stressed, it's tempting to rush through conversations or to jump to conclusions. But hasty responses rarely lead to the best outcomes. Instead, take your time to consider your words carefully. Think about what you want to say and how you want to say it. Even if you feel the pressure to respond quickly, taking a brief pause to gather your thoughts can make a huge difference. It gives you the chance to choose your words more carefully, which can help you avoid misunderstandings and ensure that your message is clear. In stressful situations, our emotions can sometimes get the better of us, leading to a more defensive or aggressive communication style. However, reacting defensively or aggressively only escalates tension. Instead, aim to express your thoughts in a calm, non-confrontational manner. Use I statements instead of you statements to avoid sounding accusatory. For example, say, "I feel concerned when," rather than "you always." This helps keep the conversation from becoming combative and allows for a more productive dialogue. Sometimes it can be helpful to take a break during a stressful conversation. If the tension is too high and you feel like things are getting out of hand, suggest taking a brief pause. A short break allows everyone to cool down, collect their thoughts, and come back to the conversation with a clearer perspective. This doesn't mean walking away from the problem, but rather giving everyone a chance to reset so the conversation can continue more effectively. Stressful situations don't have to mean poor communication. In fact, how you communicate under pressure can reveal a lot about your ability to handle difficult situations with grace. By staying calm, focusing on the message, listening actively, and expressing empathy, you can turn even the most challenging conversations into opportunities for understanding and resolution. It's not about avoiding stress altogether, but about learning how to communicate through it. With practice, you'll find that handling communication in stressful situations becomes easier and more natural over time. And when you can communicate effectively, even under pressure, you'll be in a better position to navigate any challenge that comes your way. Improving your communication skills is a journey, but every step you take brings you closer to becoming a better version of yourself. By listening more, speaking clearly, and connecting with others in a meaningful way, you can change the way you interact with the world. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember that every conversation is an opportunity to grow. The more you focus on improving, the more natural it will feel. The power to communicate well is in your hands. Use it to create the relationships and success you deserve.